After Wukong turned Blackening, he realized that Ling was just a demon cave. The entire Liu'er temple was filled with demonic energy, and there were no Buddhas, only demons. The entire three realms were deceived by Tathagata Buddha because, during the battle between Sun Wukong and the six-eared macaque, Tathagata saw something in the mirror of the future that made him hurriedly use a technique to switch the real Sun Wukong with the six-eared macaque for the journey to the west to fetch scriptures. Erlang Shen had already seen through this but chose to remain silent due to the faint Buddhist light on the six-eared macaque. As a result, the nickname, "Stupid," would never again be uttered by the senior brother, and it disappeared from the journey. Unfortunately, even Tathagata did not anticipate that Sun Wukong, born from natural elements and formed from Liu'er's crystal stone, naturally possessed an extra soul and spirit, which the deities of the underworld failed to notice. From the 19th level of hell, he escaped. Later, at the foot of Spirit Mountain, a thin beggar appeared who often gazed at the Buddhist light emanating from the mountain with disdain and a barely noticeable trace of resentment in his eyes. The three realms noticed that the victorious warrior saint of the true achievement was indeed different from before. The originally hot-tempered monkey had directly gone into seclusion for 500 years after becoming a Buddha. He didn't return to Flower Fruit Mountain or roam around causing trouble as before, but stayed obediently in the mountains, meditating in silence at Mount Emei for 500 years like a clay statue of a bodhisattva, no longer concerning himself with the affairs of the three realms. Time passed, and the legend of the great sage equal to heaven slowly became just a legend. At this time, a thin beggar sat on the ground in the western continent of Cattle Gift, his body too weak to continue traveling. A piece of coarse bread was thrown in front of the beggar. The beggar glanced at the bread but showed no intention of picking it up. The one who gave the beggar the bread was a woman about 40 years old, who, seeing the beggar unmoved, joined her hands in prayer and said, "Amitabha Buddha." Upon hearing this Buddhist name, the beggar seemed somewhat agitated, but he quickly calmed his emotions and continued to stare blankly at the sky, ignoring the food in front of him. Suddenly, it started raining heavily, and people nearby rushed indoors to avoid the rain, except for the beggar who remained sitting where he was, allowing the rain to wash over his body. After an unknown amount of time, a young girl holding an umbrella stood in front of the beggar, using the umbrella to shield him from the rain. "Why did you become a beggar? You can go to a temple to become a Buddhist disciple so you won't have to endure wind and sun out here," the little girl asked, puzzled by looking at the beggar. Seeing the innocent look in the little girl's eyes, the beggar, who hadn't spoken for a long time, spoke up in a hoarse voice that revealed a hint of defiance. The beggar said, "Buddha doesn't deserve my worship." The little girl's face showed shock, and she quickly covered the beggar's mouth, saying, "No, you can't slander the Buddha, you'll be burned as a heretic." The beggar smiled calmly and didn't speak further. The little girl left her umbrella with the beggar. Shortly afterward, a group of people arrived and took the little girl away. The beggar learned from passers-by that Guanyin Zen temple had taken in a new female disciple who was born with a Buddhist bone and could stir the image of Guanyin Bodhisattva when reciting scriptures, making Guanyin Zen temple famous overnight. The beggar looked at the umbrella in his hand with a sad expression. He knew that the innocent little girl had disappeared. Deeply gazing at Guanyin Zen temple from afar, he began walking towards a direction remembered from his memories. "I'm so tired, my body is getting weaker and weaker. Damn Tathagata, one day I, old son, will make you all regret it," the beggar cursed as he felt his body getting weaker. When mentioning a certain name, the beggar seemed to think of something and forced himself to swallow back that name. Auspicious clouds passed through the sky, and a flash of golden light shone in the beggar's eyes before he closed them and fell asleep leaning against a tree. Guanyin Bodhisattva, seated on a lotus platform, suddenly opened his eyes and frowned, turning his gaze down to the mortal world but finding nothing suspicious. "What's wrong, Bodhisattva?" a childlike figure behind Guanyin asked. This was Red Boy, who no longer had his former arrogance and appeared submissive. Guanyin shook his head and didn't say anything. He felt like he might have been mistaken. He had just sensed someone spying on him, but after careful investigation, he found no suspicious individuals. Perhaps it was an illusion. It's rare for someone in the three realms capable of spying on me without being detected to have such leisure time to pay attention to me.